need your help to find outstanding volunteers from your region of the state. If you know a volunteer who deserves to be honored for their service, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Nominate Now. Nominations must be submitted by June 1st. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Did you know that AmeriCorps programs improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement in Nebraska? For example, AmeriCorps program serving with the RISE program helps students on probation for truancy gain skills to improve both their attendance and performance in school. Discover more about AmeriCorps programs making a difference in your community at serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease. Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the 93.7 The Ticket studio. From the heart of Lincoln, America, this is What's Next 24. With the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome in. Happy Sunday. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, this is What's Next 24. You guys can join in 402-464-5685. You can also put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, X, Owl Channel 961, all great ways to do so. With that being said, we got a great guest in studio, but I'll let the host introduce him, Mike and Sherry.
Person.
Yeah, let me make sure I got
ahead.
you guys' mics on before I throw it to you.
Go ahead. We had to make sure it's on.
I know. We're always running in here because we commute from Omaha, so it's always like sometimes we don't have time to greet our illustrious producer Harrison. Couldn't do this without you, bud. Anyway, so welcome to What's Next, everybody, on 93.7 The Ticket FM, a show where inspiration meets storytelling. It's me and Michael and Harrison. Stay with us as we take you on a journey through heartfelt narratives, uplifting moments, and the hope that drives us forward. Whether it's stories that warm your heart or spark your ambition, What's Next is here to celebrate resilience, encourage dreams, and shine a light on the extraordinary in everyday people's lives. Michael, on that note, I am so excited for you to introduce our guest.
Oh, this is an exciting morning. As I say, good morning, everyone. Of course, it's 7 a.m., and we're starting this Sunday with an inspiring guest who exemplifies entrepreneurship and community spirit. Marcy Haas, owner of Sweet Things by Marcy, runs a beloved bakery located at 1115 K Street in downtown Lincoln, Nebraska. Known for her authentic Southern desserts like hummingbird cake and peach cobbler, Marcy has turned her passion for baking into a thriving business. Beyond her success as a businesswoman, she's also a proud U.S. Navy veteran and an active participant in local initiatives that make Lincoln a stronger, more connected community. Marcy, welcome to the show. We are so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome.
So glad you're here. And just the way we met was just amazing. But hearing your story is what absolutely still blows me out of the water. When we were working on the notes and stuff, I just kept going back and just in awe. Marcy, why don't you do this? We're going to kind of start a little bit at the beginning. Your childhood, your parents, but especially your mom.
Well, I grew up in rural West Central Alabama. My parents, hard workers. My mom was an excellent cook. She cared for a lot of people in our community. My dad was a hard worker. He was also a Baptist minister. So, yeah.
You told me a story, and if you don't mind sharing, you told me a story about your mom before she met your dad. And I'm still I've been walking around all week just trying to wrap my brain around some of the things and the way the laws were, the way the culture was, especially in the South back in the 50s. Tell our listeners, just with your mom being a young woman, falling in love, wanting to get married, what were the problems about that?
Well, back then they were not allowed to get married. This was still during a lot of it during segregation and pre-civil rights. So she and her husband were not allowed to get married in the state of Alabama. She was 19 years old, 19 years old, and she had to go over to Lauderdale County, Mississippi, which is Meridian, Mississippi. So they had to go over to Meridian, Mississippi. And as a woman of color, and as her husband was a man of color, they were not allowed to get married in the state of Alabama.
And that I'm still I can't wrap my brain around that, because when you first told me that, my first thought was, well, I know back then, whites couldn't marry people of color. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe one of them was white, one was a person of color. And I asked you that, and you said, no, they were both people of color, and it was against the law.
It was against
to
the
get
law.
married in Alabama, even for people of color.
Yes.
And then we talked a little bit about, too, the fact that not just black women, but even white women couldn't vote.
Nope.
They couldn't have, of course, we know they couldn't vote, but they couldn't have credit.
Nope.
They couldn't, there was something else, and I apologize.
They couldn't open a bank account.
They couldn't own property. That's
Couldn't own
what
property,
it was.
right.
Couldn't own any property to have credit. And, besides the segregation thing. It's amazing. I don't think people realize how discriminated against all women were at that time.
Yes.
But your mom, I mean, what an amazing story she came out of. I mean, you've told me tell us how many children your mother had.
She had 10 children, and there's 9 surviving, and I'm the youngest.
Wow. And then she had to, in a relationship she was in, she almost had to kind of grab all those kids and run.
Yes, she left a domestic violence relationship, an abusive relationship, where her husband was her partner at that time was older than her, and they had 6 children. And she was helping to raise his children as well, and some of them were older than her.
Oh my goodness!
So she fled his house, and as my siblings would tell me, she spent a lot of times in the woods and fled to our hometown, which was Demopolis. But they were in another area, rural area called Forkland, and her partner at the time owned a lot of property, and that was the thing. He was a sharecropper. He owned about 20, 30 acres of land. They farmed the land. The children farmed the land, but to escape the situation, she hid out in the woods with my siblings,
But she took all of her children with her.
Yes, absolutely.
And it seemed to me when we talked, it seemed to me that her children were her ultimate priority.
Yes.
That
yes.
she always found a way to feed them, even when there was no way.
Yes. There was there was a time my sister told me a story on my birthday about how my mom would she was told that she's not allowed to kill the chickens, and don't kill my chickens, by her partner, and she went to my grandma's house, and after she killed the chicken, she'd take it over to my grandma's house and have them dress the chicken for her, or sometimes she would dress it herself, and she would bring it back and say, "Oh, look, my mom gave us a chicken. I can fry chicken now." So she would cook the chicken that she'd actually killed. He never kept count of what he had, but she actually made sure she took care of everybody with what she had on the land. So
she started cooking like right from the jump.
Oh yeah, she was always. I mean, our family always knew how to cook. So
well, and then you told me, I mean, after she moved back, got away from that situation and moved back, and met your dad.
Mhm.
That and then they had you.
Yes.
And then they had you. And just tell us a little briefly about you growing up. and that whole scenario.
Well, me growing up, I pretty much grew up like an only child because they had me when they were, I think my dad may have been 39 or 40. My mom was maybe 41, 42, somewhere in that neighborhood. I was the accident, as my, but the best accident they could ever had.
Never accident, just oops, the baby.
Yes, yes. So, me growing up, I grew up pretty much almost like an only child, but I was very close to my brothers more so than my sisters. My sisters, we're close now, but let them tell it. They did not want me there.
Probably because you got all the attention because you were the new baby girl.
Well, no, pretty much they had to take care of me.
Oh well, yeah.
But my brothers didn't mind. They didn't mind at all, and they to this day they don't mind taking care of their baby sister.
But that's good. Now tell us. So you went. Your parents raised you. You had mentioned to me that they were a little strict. Tell us a little bit about. You went through high school.
Yes. So my parents were strict. However, I had what I needed to get by. I My dad bartered with the local musician so that I could take piano lessons. I learned how to play the piano. My mom didn't want me to play any instruments because she thought she couldn't afford them. But my siblings bought me a clarinet. I wanted to play saxophone. They bought me a clarinet, so because there was already one there, but it was easier for them just to buy me one of those. So yeah. Let's see. I didn't really get a chance to eat out until I started working. We raised and grew our own food. So,
Well, when you're going to high school, what was just some of your hopes and dreams? What were you thinking about you wanted to do? Did you want to stay in that
no,
area? What was
absolutely
what
not.
was in your mind? What were you thinking?
I'm out of here.
I was thinking, I'm leaving. I'm going to join the military, and every branch of service that I brought up, my mom said no, absolutely not. My dad wanted me to be a nurse. He had hopes and dreams for me to go to Tuskegee University and be a nurse. And I was like, yeah.
Well, during school, was there any outside influence, like a mentor or a teacher or somebody why the Navy? Where did this idea come from?
Well, there was no idea. I didn't know how to swim when I joined the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I did not. I just joined the branch that once I completed my ASVAB, I was like, oh well, I'll just join the Navy.
Okay, I like their hats, so I'll join the Navy.
Well, it wasn't necessarily about the hats or anything. I figured, no one else in my family was in the Navy. Two of my siblings joined the Army, so one was in the Air Force, and I was like, let me just.
Also, so a military family, in a sense, with the siblings. Is that the older? What were they in?
The older ones were in Air Force and Army.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
My grandfather was actually a World War II veteran.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So when you joined the military, tell us about the process. How'd you like it? Did you sign up? Where did you go?
So I went to NTC Great Lakes for boot camp and school. I'm actually a certified aircraft anti-submarine helicopter mechanic. So I worked on aircraft, H3s and H60s. I was, my first duty station was Naval Air Station Jacksonville in Florida. I switched over around 1997 to Yeoman, which is an executive assistant, and I worked for NATO for the remainder of my military career.
Now,
like 2005.
Now, when you reflect back, I mean, that's quite a transition. Here you are was a smaller town in Alabama?
Yes.
To NATO?
Yes.
I mean, the whole world's changed all of a sudden. What was that mentally? What was that experience like for you? That's a big change. The lessons, the training, the instructors. How did you mentally handle that? Were you prepared?
Yeah, I wanted to travel. So that was an easy way for me to travel and go see the world and get a chance to meet all people from all walks of life. And that was always interesting to me, was to be able to meet other people.
Do you think your parents being strict helped you when you got into the military? Because you're so disciplined and strict anyway, that I know for some people going into the military, it's a major culture shock. Did you find that?
Nope. I just knew that they couldn't discipline me the way that I would have been disciplined at home. I mean, I knew they weren't allowed to hit me. So it was one of those things where, oh yeah, I'll just smile, and them yelling at me was like a cakewalk. Okay, that's fine.
Wow. And you went from a helicopter mechanic to NATO. That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive. And went in Jacksonville, Florida, you met your first husband.
Yes, I did.
And had an amazing son.
Yes.
An amazing son, which, by the way, this is a sports station, and her son now plays semi-pro ball in Omaha.
Yes,
and he is a wide receiver or running back?
Wide receiver. Yes.
Yes. And for all you single girls out there, he's pretty darn good looking too. Anyway, but then you told me you ended up at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii.
Yes.
Was that still with NATO?
Yes. Actually, my first tour in Pearl Harbor, first part of 1998, I was there. I worked for SINCPAC Fleet, which is Command Pacific Fleet, in the Department of Public Affairs. We did maritime simulations with other countries.
And you also told me that your first husband was in the Marines, so you were kind of having two military families in two different places.
Yes, yes, we were like ships passing. We usually sometime we met up in the airport to exchange keys.
Wow.
And change out the car.
And how did you? So you're in Pearl Harbor. You're married. You have a son. I'm assuming your son was quite young.
Actually, I was pregnant with him.
Oh,
when
you
I
were
was
pregnant
there.
with him.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have him while you were still in the military?
I did. I got out right before his 5th birth. Well, right before he went to kindergarten. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So that was the reason for my exit when I didn't re-enlist because I wanted him to have some stability.
Absolutely. And there were issues. There were issues in your marriage.
Yes.
And that unfortunately you parted ways.
Oh yeah.
You parted ways. And then what happened? Then where did you go?
I lived in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for a while, and I managed properties, low-income housing properties, and Section 8 properties for a little bit. And I met my second husband, and he had just relocated to work in Alabama. He was a robotics engineer, so we kind of met a few months after he moved there. So that was what was that? 2005. Well, yeah, 2005, and I'd just gotten out of the military right around that same time.
Well, and Sherry was telling me too that now through that time you experienced some unexpected really challenges in your life.
Yes.
Can you share some of that?
Well, it wasn't until after I moved to Nebraska, but once I moved to Nebraska, our marriage went south. I was kind of isolated from everyone that I knew, and
you moved from Alabama to, of all places, McCook, Nebraska.
Yes.
Western Nebraska.
Yes. So lived in Western Nebraska, which was a culture shock for me because, I was so accustomed to having access to so many different things, but it was okay. I made it work. They had grits on the shelf and sweet tea, and some of the other places they were able to accommodate everything that I needed, but I made it work.
And by this time, you had two sons.
Yes. So I had Christopher, which was 2 years old. Matthew, my oldest, was 9 at the time. So we moved to McCook. I would say probably about a year in is when I kind of saw some things change with how things were with my relationship with my ex-husband. And I didn't realize that I was being domestically abused, emotionally abused, financially abused. So I went through all of that, and there was an incident where there was physical abuse, but I was afraid to tell anyone because of not being able to get back home or to leave.
Marcia, touch base with this. I know it can be painful a little bit, but it seems like lately you see it lately in the news in Nebraska. I mean, there's been in the past 6 weeks, or in Lincoln, for example, there was a couple people. They've been murdered. They were killed. Domestic violence, partnership relationships.
Yes.
You see it in the news. You see it frequently. Why do you feel, looking back, I mean, you got into a situation that you didn't, I mean, you don't expect these things. You never think these things are going to happen. But once they do, why do you think there's such an epidemic of this problem? You hear it also in the military, by the way.
Yes.
And it's something, it's like they don't want to talk about it.
No.
Let's say, share a little bit. What I want to ask you is, you find yourself in a situation you don't expect. How did you handle it?
I shared it with some people in my Bible study group. Well, not really some people, just one person in my Bible study group. So, because I told her I wanted to move home, and there was an incident. And then eventually I'd been going to therapy for, I want to say, probably a few months after our physical abuse incident. And I'd been going to therapy, and it was like one of those things that I didn't really recognize. I didn't even recognize myself for what I was dealing with. I shared the situation with my therapist that had happened before, and she noticed that I was a little different that day that I came in. My ex-husband happened to be out of town for a business trip, and I think he was in Omaha, and he and his team had traveled over to Omaha. So I kind of found myself in a situation where I was like, wow, it feels different at home.
Without him there.
Without him there. And I didn't have to take anything to go to sleep. I didn't have to, I just felt really, really relaxed. Because typically it was pretty tense in our house. So my therapist recognized the difference in my attitude or whatever that week. And she said, you seem different. And she gave me the phone number to Friendship Home, out of all places.
In Lincoln.
Yeah, yeah. And I just bought groceries. I just picked my son up from the airport. And we were getting ready to move into a brand spanking new house. And I was thinking to myself, we just built a house. We just did this. We just that. And we have all of these material things. And I was like, do I want to go into that? So I sat for about 30 minutes and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I called my best friend, and she kind of listened to me pack my things. And I told her what I was going to do. I never told my siblings what was going on. My mom was alive at the time, and she didn't know what was going on. So I just made the decision to come to Lincoln after there was shelter available for us. My first few nights was spent in a hotel over in Cornhusker, and the rest of the time I was able to get into a place that was in a partnership with, I think, Lincoln Housing Authority. So I stayed in a house in a community for 6 weeks before getting into an apartment.
So you left McCook, drove all the way across the state, and when we talked, you told me you had $10 in your purse and a full tank of gas.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what you and the boys left with.
Yes. That's it.
But it's, when you're in that situation, and you mentioned my mom didn't know, my siblings didn't know, sometimes there's so much fear. And did you find yourself that fear, but also the fact of what would be the repercussions if I did tell somebody?
I didn't need anyone to talk me out of something that I knew was wrong.
That's a very good point. That's because a lot of women in domestic violence situations don't tell anybody.
No.
They don't tell anybody for 1,000 different reasons.
Some people are worried about status,
Yes.
or what happens if I don't have a place to live.
Yes.
Or I have this nice car, I have this.
Yes.
What will happen to my kids if I leave?
Yes.
My kids are going to be ruined if I leave.
Yes.
I had a friend tell me that I'm going to ruin my kid's life if I leave. And I didn't listen to that. Some people equate someone hitting you or hurting you or causing you harm or treating you like a possession to love, and that's not love.
No. And people don't realize, they think that you're going to ruin your kids' lives by staying in that situation,
Yes.
more so than if you leave.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, with that, it's 7:25, and we need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Sherry and Marcy in just a minute.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
We've been hunting these fields north of Kearney since high school. My buddy Ryan has always been my wingman, the life of the party. But I saw it change, and he got really down. Talked about his life being worthless.
If you know someone who's struggling, talk to them about temporarily storing their guns away from their home. Taking care of friends and neighbors. It's what we do in Nebraska. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Spring storms can unfortunately lead to power outages. While LES line workers go out in the storm, you can stay in, but you can also help by reporting your outage right away online at les.com/report.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. as Lincoln Lighthouse's Executive Director Bill Mitchner educates listeners on the history of Lighthouse, their mission, and how you can get involved in shaping today's youth into tomorrow's adults. Every Wednesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring has arrived. The temperatures are rising, and it's time to get your equipment ready for the season. Landmark Implement has high-quality used John Deere planters, sprayers, and tractors, priced to move and ready to work for you. Take advantage of unbeatable deals and flexible financing to upgrade your operation without stretching your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or browse our full inventory online at landmarkimp.com. Before these deals are done, experience the Landmark difference.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
It seems everyone is online these days, including our kids. I'm Tim Royers, a parent, a teacher, and president of the Nebraska State Education Association. As parents, it's up to us to keep our kids safe online. Stress the importance of privacy. Remind your kids never to share personal information, and that not everyone online is trustworthy. Monitor their online activity, and let's make sure our kids stay safe in our digital world.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Did you know that AmeriCorps programs improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement in Nebraska? For example, members serving with AmeriCorps programs like Partnership for Kids provide kids with the support they need to succeed in school and prepare for their dream career. Discover more about AmeriCorps programs making a difference in your community at serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to What's Next 24 from the 93.7 The Ticket studio with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome back in. What's Next 24, segment number 2. We got the host, as always, Mike and Sherry, and guest Marcy from Sweet Things by Marcy in studio today. With that being said, you guys can always join in via the Starter Heyman text line. I'll throw it over back to the host, Mike and Sherry.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being here. I need to make a quick correction. I gave the wrong address. I want to make sure that you check out Sweet Things by Marcy at 1413 N Street. We've been hearing a great story from Marcy where we talk about in terms of her inner faith of God and inner voice where she had to take action in her life when she hit the lowest lows to the highest highs that planted the seed towards Sweet Things by Marcy. So, Sherry, I'm going to turn it over to you and we'll continue.
Well, I think we're going to just we just left off at the point where you had come out of protection and your own safety, your boys' safety, ended up in Lincoln. Some amazing groups here in Lincoln really kind of helped you stand up and get back on your feet.
Yes.
Now, once you did that, where'd you go from? How'd you go from there, and how did you end up where you're at, doing what you're doing? And I know you told me, and I still laugh because I've tasted your food, I've tasted your desserts, and you said, I did not want to do this.
I didn't. That was not part of the plan. I actually, after my mom passed away, during everything, I decided to go back to college. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, well, I'm just going to go back to school. I graduated from Doane. I went to Southeast just to see if I could do it first, and then I went to Doane and graduated in 2018.
Doing what? What degree? What was your major?
Business and HR.
Okay.
And I ended up going. One of my goals was to get a job with the federal government. I'd worked with the Census Bureau for a while, and I worked at the post office out in Western Nebraska. So I was familiar with working for the federal government. So I decided to get a job with the federal government. I worked at the VA and then immigration and then back at the VA and on the benefit side. So I went into the office one day. Well, actually, my business started before I started working for the VA. While I was working with immigration, I was in the process of being furloughed, and I'd received 2 furlough notices. And of course, I hadn't been there very long. We were working from home. It was during, I want to say it was during COVID. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. My husband was diagnosed with cancer, and I was trying to figure out some things. I was running, I was gardening. I did just a number of things to try to get by. And I was using different coping mechanisms, which more therapeutic than not was baking. So I started baking some of my mom's recipes, and then I started baking some other stuff, and I was thinking, oh, this tastes pretty good. I can do this. And I started sharing it with some friends, and they were like, oh, I'd pay for a slice of this cake. And I shared it with my neighbors, and long story short, I ended up turning it into a business October 2020. I was working part-time on my business after work. I would work sometimes until midnight, 2 a.m., get back up at 6 o'clock in the morning, just depending on how many orders I had. And I did all of this from home for a while, and then I went over to a commercial kitchen, only because my husband was not happy with the fact that I had our garage, living room, dining room,
Yeah,
everything
the
full
home
of
becomes the home business.
yes, yes. So
Yes.
everything was full of desserts that last Thanksgiving, and he was like, "You've got to do something about this."
Well, Marcy, share. What was the business plan? What was the you had to decide on what products and what you're going to make? How did you?
Or where you're going to even do
Yep.
this.
Or the menu. I see your tremendous menu online. In fact, real quick, could you mention how people can find out your menu?
They can go on my website, sweetthingsbymarcy.com, and all of my items that I have available are on that site. I did download my menu to print, so some of the folks that always ask me what do you have available? Do you have a menu? And I don't ever have a menu. I don't like to waste paper, so um, I'll go ahead and print out some of those and get some of those emailed out and then send the link as well and post it on social media.
So can you share what's some of the top menu items today?
Top menu items: my signature Kentucky butter cake, hummingbird cake, and peach cobbler. Sweet potato pie is really popular during the holidays, but for sure the peach cobbler, Kentucky butter cake. Oh, and my banana pudding. My banana pudding.
Oh,
I
my
was just going to
goodness, banana
say, I've
pudding.
heard about it. I haven't seen it. I haven't tasted it, but I did yesterday pay her a quick visit and saw her making, and I'm dying to try this. She's got some amazing bread pudding going on too.
Yes, it is the best bread pudding in the city of Lincoln.
That's
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
in the state of Nebraska.
So now you not only opened up this storefront and people come to you. We're at a very popular location. Tell us how's business today?
Business it's good. As of last week, it was really good. Before it was kind of a little slow, but it's picking up.
But to increase business, you not only do have the storefront, you talked to me a little bit about you're out there, you're grinding, you're working really hard.
I am.
You are, and now, how many work with the business with you? It's yourself, your husband, and children, or just how are we doing this?
So I have little elves. I, that would be my husband that does dishes and on occasion whenever I'm just exhausted. My older son will come in and do a few things. He even learned how to make peach cobbler.
Let's start.
Yeah, and my younger son, he stamps the bags for me and puts away my inventory and helps me move stuff around. And I also have a good friend, Becky. She comes in on Saturdays and measures ingredients and makes sure I have my list together for the week, and I don't have to worry about measuring everything before I bake on Monday and Tuesday.
And I real quick, sorry, and I also see that you're networking quite a bit. A lot of your products are in other locations. Is that correct? Share where some of these products are currently located at.
Okay, so Lila Mae's Southern Kitchen over on 33rd and South. They're in the Leon's Gourmet Grocery parking lot. They have my Kentucky butter cake, peach cobbler, bread pudding,
Mississippi mud pie.
Mississippi mud pie. Oh yeah,
I watched her make that yesterday too.
Mississippi mud pie, and I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I think that's it. I think they have like 5 items. An apple crisp.
Yeah, well, we got to share a background story too. Sherry and I were lucky enough in our old age. We got married a couple of weeks ago, and who shows up but Marcy with all this plate of food at the table. Got to thank Rebecca Pearson and all these other people, and people raved about the items that you brought that day.
Which you're kind of, I'm going to back up a little bit, but I just want to say you're kind of just dipping your toe into the catering part of this too.
I am. I didn't have intentions on doing that, but I am.
And
if somebody was starting to facilitate, but I want to jump back real quick while we have time. Tell us, okay, so you started this business in your home, then you started going to other, and correct me if I'm wrong, like a couple of restaurants would let you use their kitchens.
Yes.
To do some of these things. How did you end up in this spot? And how did it all come about? Because technically, looking at it from a business standpoint and a reality standpoint, it really shouldn't have happened.
No, none of this was the plan. I quit my job. As I said, I work for the federal government. I quit my job and I had no resources, no backup plan. And that was one of the things I just jumped. Um, I joined the chamber. I had a ribbon cutting at the chamber. I was sitting next to this lady. We were talking, and I was like, yeah, I'm just doing my ribbon cutting here. I'm not worried about having a storefront. I have no earthly idea where I'm going to be tomorrow. I never know where I'm going to be. She messaged me on LinkedIn, and she said, "Hey, do you happen to know anyone that's looking for a kitchen?" It's like, yeah, me. So I went over to meet with Kevin Knutson. Belinda Fowler-Hagen was the person that actually introduced me to him. And Kevin owns all of Da Vinci's here in Lincoln. And I went over to Greenfields, and I went over and met with him one Saturday morning, and we chatted, and he said, "Okay, well, we can you're good to go on leasing this building." And I was thinking to myself, and in a panic and with a smile on my face, nobody knew I was panicking. I don't have any money to get into this building. I have no earthly idea how I'm going to do this. What am I going to do? I have $1,000 saved in my business savings account, and I'll figure it out. Because I was spending mostly everything on supplies and, just kind of putting things back into the business. So, I called a friend, and I was complaining that, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have this opportunity, and she doesn't lend money. She just said, "Well, I have $1,000, but I need it back." We've been best friends since ninth grade. But she told me, "I have $1,000, but I need it back." And I was like, "I didn't ask you for anything." She said, "I know, but I believe in you, and I know that you'll give it back." And, and I know you don't ask for anything.
Well, I think what's amazing to hearing you talk, there was no plan B.
No.
You jumped in.
Yes.
You put it all in faith.
Yes.
Prayer.
Yes.
Tried to get a small business loan.
Yes. Everything I do is based on faith. I mean, my customers showing up, I just hope that they show up. I pray that they show up. If they don't, it's okay. I operate
faith in people, not faith in God, or faith in God, not faith in people.
Well,
exactly.
What Sherry shared with me, we call it a lot of times a bucket list, but you have a different you have a different name for this.
So I have a list of things that God will provide, and I wrote it down as in 300 things that God will provide. I have about 152 things written down, and I've been checking off that list.
And how many things have come true on that list?
At least 50 of them.
Isn't this amazing?
Yes. So,
if you focus and put your attention toward it.
Yes.
And your trust.
Yes, absolutely. And I strongly believe in, writing it down, making it plain. Habakkuk 2:2.
I see the signal for the break time. With that, Marcy, we'll be right back. We got to take a quick break, and we'll continue in just a minute.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
LES wants your feedback. Help shape your electric utility's direction and priorities by taking an anonymous online survey. Make your voice heard before the survey closes on April 30th at les.com/survey.
make plans to join 93.7 The Ticket and the Amon Green Foundation for the first annual Nebraska Esports Golf Tournament on Monday, June 9th at Wilderness Ridge. It's a four-man scramble starting at 11 a.m. that will feature former Husker greats, including Amon Green, Johnny Rogers, Niles Paul, Tony Davis, Adam Carricker, Rashawn Jackson, and more, with great prizes and great golf. Sponsorships are also available. Email Jake at theticketfm.com for more questions or sign your team up online at theticketfm.com. Early bird registration goes through April 20th and overall registration goes through May 30th. Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown's Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular priced athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Brown's carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown's Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
It's the problem no one wants to talk about, the middle child of driver safety. In the time of doing everything in the car with 3 screens and a surround sound symphony sending you somewhere sunny, driving takes a back seat to swiping and replying. And while you're eating and taking a sip from your drink, more than 14% of fatal and injury crashes are being caused by distracted driving. This is distracted driving for real. Let's start driving for real. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
It's the problem no one wants to talk about, the middle child of driver safety. In the time of doing everything in the car with 3 screens and a surround sound symphony sending you somewhere sunny, driving takes a back seat to swiping and replying. And while you're eating and taking a sip from your drink, more than 14% of fatal and injury crashes are being caused by distracted driving. This is distracted driving for real. Let's start driving for real. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office. It's the middle child of driver safety. Ugh. It's like that scene in a movie you don't want to see, thinking, it won't happen to me. In the time of doing everything at once with 3 screens and taking meetings and eating in the car, it's not easy. But when driving takes the back seat, distracted driving causes more than 14% of fatal and injury crashes every year. For real. Let's start driving for real. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Men in Nebraska can be set in their ways, but they can also be quick to change their minds. Just 10 minutes can be enough to step back and rethink the life-ending decision of suicide. If you have a friend or family member who's struggling with depression, talk to them about temporarily storing their guns away from their home. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as 1 pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan, together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Back to What's Next 24 from the 93.7 The Ticket studio with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, What's Next 24. We got the host, as always, Mike and Cherry, and a great guest in studio. Only got about 5 minutes left here, so I'll throw it over to the host, Mike and Cherry.
Welcome back to What's Next. I'm Mike along with Sherry, and we're here with Marcy today. I do want to point out real quick that we have a book out called Next 24. It's called Discover Happiness and True Joy in Your Life While You Create a Legacy. It is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And with the theme of the book, I hear it so much with you, Marcy, when you talk about your dreams can come true. You've worked hard. You just said off air, you had so many times you thought about giving up.
Yes.
But yet you did not give up, and you had friends and family tell you, don't give up.
Yes, absolutely.
And what I love in this is you said there is no plan B.
No, there isn't.
No plan B, and you jumped in with support because people believed in you.
Yes.
You had people, family, and friends, and that faith is a big thing. And you shared with me, which I think is so great, that you love to do, like you say, a dream list.
What
do you call it?
God will provide.
God will provide.
Yes.
Which was just outstanding. And you also network within the community. You're at James Arthur Vineyard.
Yes.
Products are there.
Well, actually, we do pairings.
Oh, you do pairings. Excuse me.
Yes.
And you've worked close with Kevin Knutson. And I just want to say hi, Kevin. Kevin's a wonderful man who owns Greenfields, background family, has had Da Vinci's in Lincoln for quite some time.
Yes.
Sherry, I'll turn it over to you.
I just want to pop into and saying this just popped into my head. I mean, I hate to say the product of, but having been through domestic violence and some abuse, I just want to point out that after these issues and having to have the resilience to protect her children and to protect herself, she finally met a wonderful man, and she told me that their first date, as soon as she met him, she felt like he was her best friend and like she had known him all of her life.
Yes.
And he seems to be, and I don't know much about him, Tony, I'm sorry, I wished I did, and hopefully that will come down the road. But he seems to support these ideas, and he seems to be a little bit maybe of a stabilizing power for you with the business and just in personal life.
Yes.
So we want to give a shout out to him, definitely. If there's anything you want to say to him, say it now.
Tony, thank you so much for supporting me and being my backbone and pushing me to follow my dreams.
So see, ladies, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I've said this before, and Marcy agrees. One of my favorite scriptures is, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning, and joy always comes in the morning. Now, that being said, I found it interesting, the correlation with your mom, that your mom went into the catering business without even probably knowing what a catering business was. Mom would feed people that were hungry. Then she got the idea of selling some of her food to restaurants to make ends meet to feed her children. And, you had told me too that and that was mom's legacy. That was mom's legacy and gift to you. But when you started, this was the last thing you wanted.
Yeah, I didn't plan on doing any of that. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy baking. But I only did it during the holidays and whenever I felt like I wanted a piece of cake or
When you wanted a piece of cake.
yes, or a
That's
pie
awesome.
or some
Good
cookies.
cake.
And
Yes.
I would mail stuff to my siblings. And of course, for some reason my best friend somehow ended up in the group of people that used to get cakes shipped.
Marcel, I want to ask you a question. You've been through a lot, but you've done a lot and you succeed a lot. Today in your life, are you happy?
I am.
Good. Are you at peace?
I am.
And what's brought that?
Just knowing that God will provide, just having faith. I used to get stressed about a lot of different things, but now I'm just like, okay, I ground, I center, I don't worry about it. I don't stress about it. I just kind of go with the flow of things.
And with Sweet Things of Marcy, what's the hopes and plans for the future?
I'm still flying by the seat of my pants on that.
That's okay.
I would like to make Sweet Things by Marcy a household name. I failed to mention one of the places that you can find my desserts, which is Canyon Joe's Barbecue.
Oh,
And
outstanding.
yeah,
Marcy, we've only got about a minute, so I want to ask you, and Sherry will probably ask you too, but you have a chance to speak to the community right now. You get to say anything you want from your heart. What would you like the community to know about you and Sweet Things by Marcy?
so if you are on the fence about doing anything and you have an idea as far as business idea or aspiring to go back to school or do anything, if you have the idea, don't stop until you do it. Just do it. It's no, life is short. You don't know if you're going to live to see tomorrow. You don't know if you're going to wake up to see tomorrow. Just go ahead and do it. If all else fails, you can go back to where you started. I mean, there's always other jobs. There's always other opportunities. Just try.
And share those dreams with other people, because you never know your friends, family, acquaintances who can open the doors to help you achieve those dreams.
We want to share that again. We want to just mention we're closing out the show now, but please stop by at Sweet Things by Marcy. And Marcy, where are you located?
1413 N Street, downtown in the old Corn Popper building. I'm open Wednesday through Friday to the public. I sell sandwiches and sandwich combos and desserts.
Try our chicken salad.
Everyone,
it's amazing.
Get down there. Harrison, thank you for today. Sherry, thank you. Marcy, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, with that being said, we'll see you next week.